For the Module 3 practice activity, open your Practice Module 3 Word document and the SBP weight data set. We'll show you here how to determine the categories that are available for each categorical variable, which type of categorical variable is it, dichotomous, nominal, or ordinal, and then how to report the n in percent for each variable. So in JMP, you can see over on the right side in the columns menu, anything with a red histogram next to it is a categorical nominal variable. Categorical nominal variable. Now, you may want to change these to ordinal variables, and we'll look how to do that in a moment. But first you need to look at each variable to determine the levels and whether or not it needs to be changed to an ordinal variable. So let's begin with the concept of race as reported in this data set. So if we take race and we go and do analyze distribution and put race in the Y column and press OK, we can see here that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 categories. Now, if you go to the code book that goes with SBP weight, you can see that the code book defines the 5 race categories, where AA is African American or Black, AN is American Indian or Alaska Native, AS stands for Asian, CA stands for Caucasian or White, and OT is other or multi-race. When you are reporting the categories, you want to utilize the definitions given to you in a code book or data dictionary. Simply using the abbreviations is not going to be useful to people that may not be familiar with the abbreviations in your data set. So the first thing that we want to do here in the practice is type in that we have African American or Black. That's our category level here. Then we have American Indian or Alaska Native. And we have Asian, we have Caucasian or White, and then we have other or multi-race. So those are our 5 categories that we have for our race variable. So then the next thing would be to determine which type of categorical variable is this. Well, we know that dichotomous means 2 levels, and we have 5 levels here, so it is not dichotomous. We know that ordinal has an inherent order, and other than putting these in alphabetical order, there isn't really an order to racial categories. So this, by default, is a nominal type of categorical variable. So when you think about categorical variables, this is what you need to consider for this practice assignment. Now, let's go ahead and look at smoking history or current smoking status, because that's a situation where you may want to have an ordinal variable. So again, I'm going to go back and do analyze distribution, and I'm going to put both smoking history and smoking current, whether or not they're current smokers, and press OK. So we can see here that there are not multiple levels. So there's only 2 levels for each of these. So right now we don't need to be concerned about this being an ordinal variable. These would both simply be variables with 2 levels. Okay, so now that we've figured out that we currently only have a nominal category for race, let's report the n in percent. So again, analyze distribution, race in my Y column, and press OK. And you can see here that JMP gives you the frequencies, and JMP gives you probabilities. Remember, probabilities or proportion range from 0 to 1, and percentages range from 0 to 100%. So the percentage is merely the probability multiplied times 100. When you are reporting categorical variables, you want to report an n and a percentage. So you want a value to be between 0 and 100 with 1 decimal place. So in this situation, we can go ahead here, and now I'm going to use my abbreviations to do my n's and percents, and that's okay here because we don't want to take up a lot of space. But my African Americans, I have 14 and I have 5.8%. So you don't need to put the percentage sign in the parentheses every time because it's here. It's the top of the table header defines that this is the N and this is the percentage. So I don't need to repeat the percentage sign. And then AI, AN is going to be 1. And then this sometimes can be difficult if I've got 0.0004. What is that in terms of percentage? So you can always bring out a calculator. 0.00417 times 100 gives me 0.4%. Gives me 0.4%, 0.4%. So it is not 4%. It is 0.4%. Then I can do my Asian category, which is 2. And again, following the same type of math from earlier, it's going to be 0.8%. My Caucasians, we have 216 Caucasians in this data set, and that is 90.0%. And then in our other category, we have 7 or 2.9%. So this is a largely Caucasian sample. And because this is relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis data set, that is not uncommon to be heavily Caucasian in terms of the racial makeup for relapsing remitting. So that is how you get the different types of levels, the type of variable, and then the N and percent from JMP to report. So now continue on and do the remainder: ethnicity, gender, smoking history, and current smoking status. Find the levels. What are the options of response? What type of categorical variable do you have? And then report the N and percent for each variable. So make sure you write out the actual terms for the levels here using the code book. So bring up your code book and make sure that you write down the actual levels here. Don't forget that you need to check and JMP because the code book could be incorrect or could have errors, or your data could be presented in a different manner. So make sure that you check not only the code book, but do the distributions in JMP, record what type of categorical variable it is, and then record the N and percent from JMP, remembering that JMP gives you a probability, and so you need to multiply these by 100 to get the percentage.